You are listening to the Critical Mass Radio Show, Orange County's business talk show, focused on exploring topics of interest to CEOs who are leading middle market companies. With your host, Richard Franzi.
Welcome to this edition of Critical Mass Radio Show and Podcast. I am your host, Richard Franzi, and this is podcast episode number 1131. Wow. I feel like we have a good one planned for you. Connected Women of Influence is paving the way for women to build a strong professional community that fosters growth, support, and collaboration. The organization believes by converging together, women can help support one another professionally, leading to better advocacy on behalf of each other. And I have the founder, the driving influence behind Connected Women of Influence, Michelle Berquist, on the show. Michelle, welcome to Critical Mass Radio Show.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you.
So before we talk about that and Sue talks,
yes,
let's talk about you.
Okay. Oh, wow. Let's just stop the presses on that, shall we?
Yeah.
Talk about me. What do you want to know about
me? Tell us a little bit about your path of what you're doing today. Like, help set the context.
Cliff Notes version. Let's do that. Now, I'm originally, as a commercial banker, was my corporate background. So I lent money, said no a lot to small businesses, went through 5 mergers, but I have been an entrepreneur since the early 90s in that other recession. Only certain ones of us know that other recession. And, you know, to me, it's like the entrepreneurial bug is bit. So I had a corporate gift business for 9 years, built it, sold it, started this incredible association at the worst year ever in starting a business, which was 2008.
Oh, baby.
Yep. We're celebrating our 10-year anniversary right now, and what a ride. That's all I got to say.
So what made you focus in this area, the Connected Women of Influence? What was it back 10 years ago?
Yeah. You know, I remember, it's like, you know, I wrote a book in 2008, which was another interesting thing. I was traveling the country, you know, speaking at women's groups and chambers and associations, and what drove me crazy was that I was craving just this conversation and interaction with other women leaders who were, you know, not to network. I mean, networking is such an overused word, but craving conversation with other women to say, you know, how do you do that? How could we learn from each other? It's like just not to sit there at a keynote and eat a rubber chicken and hear the latest keynote tell you the 5 things you already knew, but rich conversations with other women and how they advance and lead. And to me, I looked, there wasn't that. And a couple of colleagues of mine said, well, Michelle, what are you going to do about that?
Right.
I was like, wow, gauntlet. I've been challenged. There were 4 of us that actually formed Connected Women of Influence back in July in 2008.
Okay. And what service area were you? Where did you set your first group up? Yeah,
so I'm based in San Diego, so that was our hub, that was our headquarters. We had 17 charter members at the University of San Diego, serving lunch, drinking champagne, and saying, with a leap of faith, here were these 17 women that say, if you say so, Michelle, we're going to be a part of this. And that's when we started. And since then, we've grown to Orange County, and we just launched Los Angeles in January. So we're going national, baby.
All right. Well, let's talk about that. So what is the uniqueness about the Connected Women of Influence?
You know, for us, you know, we never, I guess I don't ever want to say it's like who we don't offer as a potential member to CWI. But what we said was we wanted to take a clear lane that we were looking for women who lead in some capacity in business. So ours are women who lead people or they lead projects or teams or a company. And if you meet that criteria, you know, including men, believe it or not. So we're not only women only. We love to engage men. You know, we love to support men as well. We had our first ever award for a man who supports women's advancement this year at our award show. But anyway, women who can be members are leaders in what they do, and they want to, you know, be committed to advancing, support other women, and help the next one in line is what we really look for members.
So, Michelle Berquist, you're talking about having this real conversation.
Yeah.
Not a networking event.
Correct.
And I think networking for service, I think that's important to be out,
Absolutely.
Get your brand, meet
be visible.
people. Yeah.
Of course.
You got to do that.
Of course.
But that's not where you go to solve problems or get connected.
Exactly. And I think what we found is there's a blend. You know, what I find with women want to converse. You know, they want to share information with each other. A key phrase we like to say is that we share, we don't tell. Right? We're not about coaching. You know, we're not about, you know, speakers who tell you the 5 things that, you know, you know or should know. We're just about those conversations that say, here's who I am. Let me get to know you. And what can we do to support one another professionally?
So
that's the key piece.
How does that happen? Like,
Well,
take me inside the
yeah,
room.
you know, a couple of things. I mean, we definitely do events. We have tons of events. We're not at a lack of events, but over the years, our members are craving maybe more inner circle type conversation. So we have any sort of meetings or events, both using online and, you know, actually in person, face to face, as a way to be able to bring our members together with a topic. We don't have a speaker. What we do is we have a topic of conversation and let women dish at tables about their opinion on the matter. And trust me, they will tell you what they think. You know, then as you kind of grow an organization, you know, I find that women even want more of those kind of small group conversations where they're more confidential, more like, I guess I don't use the word mastermind, but they are a safe place where women can kind of share some of the issues or challenges or things that are impeding them from getting to whatever level they want to the next tier of leading people, teams, or projects. And then at the same time, you know, you got to throw in an awards event at some point because you got to recognize
great
these women.
idea,
Yeah,
right.
it's been good. I'm working to get them like the Business Journal, but we get about 300, 400
Wow.
attendees, and we have 12 different very specific topics. And then our lovely event that we came up with about 2.5 years ago, that's our Sioux Talks, and those are very special.
And we're going to talk about that in
Yeah,
a minute, but
yeah.
not just quite yet. So, how long have you been doing the awards?
We started those in 2015.
Okay. And how did you decide that was the right thing to do?
Well, you know, I personally wanted to do an awards program that recognized women in business and industry and make it, you know, about achievement and about, you know, nominations by others, right? Not so much self-nominations, even though we do accept those. But, you know, being recognized as a woman by somebody else, whether it's a woman or a colleague or someone in your organization,
Right.
is special. And so for us, I wanted to do it, but 2008 was there. Then 2009, nobody was spending money on fluff. So it was just never the right time.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden we said, you know, we've got about 300 members. Let's try this puppy. And after San Diego came Orange County, and we're hoping for LA in the next year and a half.
Do you look at the Inland Empire? Is that a...
That's 2019.
Oh, okay. So you have a growth
Absolutely.
strategy here.
Absolutely.
And then we're going to take the nation.
World domination, dude.
Okay.
World
All
domination.
right. Let's start with California.
It's a good place to be.
Right.
It's a good
So
place to
we're
be.
going to take our first and only stop here on Critical Mass Radio Show and Podcast with Michelle Berquist. When we come back, you mentioned the topic, and I'd like to learn more about Sioux Talks.
2 little words, yes.
We can do that?
Yes, I
All
would
right.
love that.
Don't
Thank
you go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. Michelle and I will be back after this word from me.
Best-selling author Richard Franzi's written what Marshall Goldsmith has called an incredibly poignant foray into the realm of unintended consequences of executives' decisions. In Killing Cats Leads to Rats, Mitigating the Unintended Consequences of Business Decisions, Richard Franzi takes a close look at the impact of unintended consequences on business performance and employee engagement. Through the retelling of the experiences of executives at Pepsi, Wells Fargo, Kodak, Volkswagen, and many others, Richard paints a compelling real-world account for how executives leading firms of all sizes must do a better job of anticipating and controlling the outcomes of their strategic business decisions. Killing Cats Leads to Rats is available through major bookstores in paperback, Kindle, and audiobook formats. To learn more, visit www.richardfranzi.com.
And welcome back to this edition of Critical Mass Radio Show and Podcast. I am your host, Richard Franzi. All of our shows can be heard anytime on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker.com. Hundreds of former guests, websites, whose CEOs have appeared on our program. You know, since we started this thing in 2009, our show has reached hundreds of thousands of listeners through our live stream on octalkradio.net, our podcast, and our other platforms like YouTube with the video that we're streaming right now. Simply type Critical Mass Radio Show into your favorite podcasting platform, and you'll start receiving, like magic, our weekly shows with great guests like Michelle Berquist, who's not only the founder of Connected Women of Influence, but also involved with Sioux Talks, successful, unstoppable, empowering women talks that inspire change.
Wow.
Yeah, right.
Drop the mic.
Hey,
I'm serious.
baby.
Yeah,
This is all
that's
you.
how it works.
So,
Oh no, not all me.
What is
It takes a village.
okay,
I have 4 partners to Sioux Talks.
okay.
Yeah.
So what is it?
Well, you know, we do a lot of events, and you know, as you kind of hit the year after year, you got to keep keep things fresh. So we were ideating with a group of us and saying, let's try something different. We need a different type of event. What can we do besides what we're doing? And, you know, one of our co-founders, my partner, Deanna Potter, we were on the phone and she said, you know, let's do our own version of talks. And I was like, I mean, you know, you think about it, you noodle it, then you talk about it, then you obsess about it. And, you know, a year and a half later, we did our first Sue Talks at the intro of our Women Lead Conference down in Carlsbad. And we had 75 people, 8 presenters. And it was one of those magical nights that you go, we've got something really special here. And we've grown since then. We do a Sue Talk in a metropolitan area once a year. So that's it. 6 presenters on stage. It used to be all women. This year we had our first man Sue Talk presenter, and he was a retired admiral from the Navy, so it was pretty special.
Right.
And we look for women who are maybe not necessarily professional speakers. We want a real blend of women in different professions and different roles and doing different things, but definitely
what are they talking about?
Always about advancing in business. So some of our themes have been it's my decision. Other ones have been in my opinion. I think
so. You set a show theme.
We do,
and then people come in with a content.
Correct. And our talks are only 12 minutes,
Okay,
so we keep them really tight. There is no PowerPoint. There's no props. There's none of that. It's you and a sign on a stage with passion, purpose, and storytelling to give us your opinion. And they're all on YouTube, by the way.
You read my mind.
Yeah, they're online, of course.
And so, do you have some of these planned at any time in the future?
We do, as a matter of fact. So we are launching Los Angeles in September, on the 20th of September.
Where in LA?
Culver City. So we will be there. We just have put our announcement out with our 6 presenters. So they are ready to roll. And you would think I would know what the answer is. I believe the theme for this one is It's My Decision. So we have some pretty exciting Sue Talk presenters that are going through the whole coaching and, learning their, how to give a Sue Talk. It's a little different than giving a normal presentation.
Right.
We want women to be passionate and bold and brief, and put it in the I perspective. We want to hear your story. What do you think? What do you want to rant about in a great way, but all about business and industry?
Okay. Do you have any plan for Orange County?
Orange County is December 6th. This will be our 3rd year in Orange County.
Okay.
So we've been in Orange County, and it's like I said, it's been well received. Women want to be able to give their opinions on stage. Women love to give their opinions. And at the same time, we have a whole process so that we make sure that, the women that are standing on stage are giving us a little sense of who they are and what they're all about.
So authentic.
Authentic is a big one. And at the same time, we need to make sure that the attendees have something they can walk away with. And the whole goal is to inspire some sort of change. Mindset, behavior, maybe like help the next one in line or help the next generation. Something like that where it inspires change is our goal.
So you've been doing this for 10 years.
I'm tired. I'm so tired, Rick.
No, you don't seem tired at all. What has changed?
The fear factor. Let's put this. When you start a group, people have an impression of who you are and what you do, right? I think what's changed over the years is what we started when we started CWI is not what we are now. I mean, when we started, we thought, let's put a group of women together, have these fabulous conversations. Then it was like, well, we really need to be more purposeful. It's like, what do we really stand for? And I'm sure you know this book. In 2014, we were kind of losing our mojo a little bit. We were trying to figure how can we stay relevant. We're not a networking group. And I had a colleague of mine who sent me secretly the book Start With Why. It totally changed my mindset.
Really?
Oh my, it was so powerful.
Wow.
I read the book. I was like, this is crazy. This is amazing. And we started with our why. What is our why, right? And all we want to do is be resources and be advocates on behalf of each other. And if we converge together and we have those conversations, it's a pretty powerful thing to move the momentum forward for women. And at the same time, not be a group that bashes men. There are groups like that. There are, and I hate them.
Rats.
And then there's women's groups that do other things. But I think for us, we wanted to not only engage men, but we also wanted to make it that, look, it's like we all have bumps, we all have issues, we all have things going on, but, together we're better. And with one person's support of another one, it literally can change the world. That's our goal. And world domination as well.
Okay, so my why is to have a lasting positive impact on the lives of my clients.
You
So
know what?
I went through that book and found it to be very
Wasn't it?
right.
And our why is we need more women leaders. That's it. I mean,
Okay.
really, we want to see more women lead the way. That's it. Whether
Wow.
it's business, whether it's behavior, whether it's like themselves, it's like it doesn't have to be about managing,
Right.
you know, a corner office and, you know, Fortune 500 firm.
So how has the influx of millennials into the workforce impacted your organization?
This one's a huge one. I mean, and I will say just kind of very authentically, one of my, you know, what keeps you up at night kind of thing is that I'm seasoned. So I have been around the block for a few years in business. And one of the things you learn when you're, you know, in business is you get to know other people and build relationships, hence network, build relationships.
Right.
I think the new generation here of millennials, it's like my fear factor is that these millennials are not as much joiners as my generation
Really?
or the Gen Xers or even the Gen Y. And so that's what we're finding is how to be relevant for millennial women because our members, I call us lovingly the 80s ladies because we have 40s, 50s, and 60 somethings, very seasoned in what they do.
Right.
But our membership is also looking for ways to give back now to young girls and helping that next generation in a different way. But millennials are definitely something that keep me up at night. How can we be relevant for them? Because we have a lot of expertise, a lot of longevity of women who have been there and done that and want to give back. And so we're looking for different ways to be able to do that. We've landed on a couple, but, you know, attracting the millennial women is something that's very much a goal of ours.
All right. Well, put that out there.
Thank you. It's out there.
It's out there in the universe.
Find
now.
the 20-somethings. We need them.
Right. Well, and 30-somethings, right? Early 30-somethings.
Absolutely.
So,
We're getting more on those because I think they realize now in their careers that
Right.
relationships really do matter. So
Right.
a little different perspective.
sometimes there's no substitute for a safe place to air your thoughts and get insight and advice.
Yeah, and I have to say, what I love, the compliment I love the most is when somebody comes to one of our meetings and they go, I had no idea that women could be so nice. I was like, where have you been? I mean, it's just a shock
Well, but
to
isn't
me.
there a
Women
sen-
can be petty.
Yeah,
Oh my
isn't-
gosh.
Isn't there a sense that
And there's a term
sometimes
for
that
it.
can-
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a sense sometimes that women are harder on women than men are on women.
That's a
in the
whole
in the
other
workplace.
subject.
In the workplace.
Absolutely. That's a radio show itself.
Okay.
Why don't more women support other women?
Right.
You know, we see it in corporate America. You know, why is it that women still don't do that? That is
Right.
one of the number one things
But
that
you
women
have
don't do.
you have a positive socioeconomic trend going on right now, which is the awakening to the fact that women are not equal partners in a lot of work environments and have had some pretty nasty environments to have to work in. So,
Yep.
I mean, there is this consciousness now that women need to find their voice.
Yeah, and maybe I'm one of the very few here that will say this, but I think it's good and maybe a little scary because
No, you can't say that.
I can say that. I'm a
All right.
woman. I can say this.
Okay, you're
but I
allowed,
think
yeah.
there is a lot of bashing going on, and to me, women can do a lot of things on our own, right, to move the needle forward for our own success. And I totally get it that, you know, the media and the things that are out there about what's happening in women in business and their careers. Yet among our conversations with our members, it's always what can we do on self-leadership,
Sure.
actions and behaviors that can do a lot of good as well.
Right, and you can get a lot of great ideas from people who have the experience of walked that path either before
Exactly.
you or even beside you, but in a little different way, right? So
Oh.
you're Connected Women of Influence. How'd you come up with the name?
I think I probably had 8 pages of
Okay.
business names. That's
Yeah.
how you start, right?
Right.
You're like, just put them all down.
Right.
And then that was in the time where you go online and you look them up to see if the URL is available, right?
Yes.
But I think, for us, and even our logo means something. It's like, because if we connect together, right, as women, being supportive of one another, being advocates, then that drives influence and impact. And so Connected Women of Influence
Right.
makes a lot of sense. But
Yeah. It's
we
almost
do
a circular kind of a thing, isn't it then, right?
links. Think
Right.
we're linked together
Yes.
is the goal.
Yeah.
Yes. And we're
Sorry.
all different and unique in different ways.
Like snowflakes. Did I interrupt you? You were on a roll
I don't
there.
know. No, this is a radio show.
I don't mean
Let me
to
interrupt
do-
you. Did I interrupt you?
Yes. So, final question. Well, next to last final question.
Okay.
What's your guiding principle? What's your philosophy for how you're building this organization?
Every day in every way, I always say it's like we're never perfect and we're never done. And based on that, we're always looking to change things up, right? We know we can't do everything perfectly. It never happens. At the same time, listen. But I think the idea that even when you've created success with one thing, I'm always looking around the corner to go, what's next? How can we differentiate ourselves? How can we continue to still be relevant? And a lot of that is knowing that it's a little different business model because we're an association. So our members have a real valuable input into what we do and how we move forward. But to me, if you don't listen to the people that believe in you and took a leap of faith with you, what are we doing?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Listen to your clients. They'll lead
Isn't
you.
that like basic 101?
Sometimes, yeah.
And
but,
sometimes
not
we
every
don't.
entrepreneur believes that. So if someone would like to
Shocking.
either, find out more about Connected Women of Influence or Sue Talks, where should they go?
To your URLs, SueTalks.com is a great place to start. And for Connected Women of Influence, it's ConnectedWomenOfInfluence.com.
So it's plural.
It is.
All right. And you own that.
We do own that.
Got a wonderful
we
website.
got a trademark on that.
Yeah, baby, with a lot of valuable resources on the site.
We have, absolutely. We have webinars. We have videos. It's like our Women Lead TV series is really kind of kicking up because everything's about video now.
Right.
We have a very active blog and an event calendar, and we have a new website in development for our 10-year kind of anniversary.
It never ends.
Never. See, we're never done.
You're
That's
never
what I
done.
said.
You're
Bam.
Right. You got to keep improving your service offering to stay relevant.
Exactly.
Well, thank you for being a friend of the
you.
program and here a guest on Critical Mass Radio Show and Podcast. And I'd like to thank our engineer, Paul Roberts. Without him, he always engineers a great show. And our producers, without whom I couldn't do the show, Joan Park, Crystal Nunley, and Haley Stern. If you'd like to connect with me on LinkedIn, I'm Richard Franzi, Franzi. And until our next show, I hope all of your business decisions will move your company in a positive direction.
You have been listening to Critical Mass Radio Show Business Talk Show, focused on exploring topics of interest to CEOs who are leading middle market companies. With your host, Richard Franzi.